Welcome to Season 2, Episode 33 of the Bulls REKAP Podcast. I'm Joe Cowley of the Chicago Sun-Times. You could obviously follow me at thesuntimes.com in the sports section. You could follow me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at jcowleyhoops. It's kind of an emergency podcast. If it was number 1, there'd be an emergency podcast. It was number 4. The Bulls jumped, made the huge jump, organizational, seismic game changer possibly. So they have number 4 now. Big days, positive days for the Bulls. And when we're talking positive, besides me, let's bring in the other positive guy in this. My man, the Cat Man himself. What's up, buddy?
How are you, my guy? I am excited by what happened. You were the first to say they're going to get to number 4. And then last week, my wife said to me, hey, you know who I'm feeding this weekend? She's the vice president of Lou Malnati. I said, no, who? She said, your guy, Darius Acuff and AJ DeBonsa. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, we're feeding all the celebs at the lottery.
They wanted Lou's? They all wanted Lou's.
So she supplied Lou's to the green room, to all the people there. And we start talking about the draft. She's like, yeah, they're going to pick 9th. It's the Bulls. I said, no, I'm with Joe Cowley. They're getting in the top 4. And bam, there it is when Malika Andrews said, and that means Chicago has jumped into the top 4. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've ripped our tourists for years, and unfortunately this thing is finally coming to fruition. What he was trying to do, mistakenly in my eyes, they kind of backed into this thing. But for Bryson Graham to be able to come in on 2 fronts, first of all, he's going to get an elite talent in my eyes in that top 4. Secondly, what this does, bigger picture, everybody's going to be coming to Chicago this week, obviously, for the draft combine stuff. Your selling point to land big front office guys now, or guys that may have been on the fence as of last week, has changed. Your organization has changed in one lottery ball drawing. All of a sudden, you're getting a number 15 pick and a top 4 pick. And if you're a front office guy, that's a little more enticing. You've got $58 million in cap space after these 2 first-round picks are made. Obviously, if they trade that 15 pick, they'll have almost 60-some million in cap space. So we're just taking into account 2 picks in the first round, knocks them down to about 58, 57 million. I mean, you want to talk about a clean slate and a really good landing place. Bryson Graham, I mean, have fun doing interviews this week and trying to suck guys into this front office, because it is a lot more of an enticing job than it was a couple days ago.
I agree with you. This makes it more enticing, but I thought Bryson Graham and Michael Reinsdorf, I got to give him credit. I thought he handled that press conference to announce Bryson magnificently well when he said, I need to apologize to Bulls fans. Okay, he had me at hello. Let's go. You're right. It's been awful. It's been terrible. I feel like a black cloud has lifted off the franchise. And you're right. If you go and interview that candidate who you want to be your GM or your head coach, and you go, we're getting a really good player at 4, and you'll collab with us on who we pick. You're getting another player at 15, and then ownership's going to let us take any bad money we have to get more picks. That is how you rebuild this thing.
Yes. Okay. So, all right, let's go through it. Washington gets number 1. I've been reporting for years. We were told, Casey Johnson and I were told early last season that Washington's plan was to tank 25, tank 26, and hope that they can hit in one of those. Obviously, it didn't work in 25. They still got Trey Johnson, who I like a lot, coming off the bench to go along with Alex Sarr and other assets they drafted from the 24 draft that are kind of, have shown some things. Then they go and say, okay, we're ready to strike. They acquire Trae Young, AD. To me, this is a perfect landing place for AJ DeBonsa, because you have your big, you have Alex Sarr, who I thought really did some nice things this year to work with AD. You have your point guard in Trae Young. I don't like him personally. I think we all know how I feel about Trae Young, but pieces are there. AJ DeBonsa at number 1 feels like no-brainer. We now have our off guard / small forward scorer. Just go do you. And we've got front court defense to protect the rim. You go do you and learn how to play this NBA game. You agree with that one?
I do 100%. And it's so funny because when Trae Young was in that draft, and that was the same draft, correct me if I'm wrong, Luka was in that draft.
That was the switch. That was the trade. Yeah.
And I was just, please don't take Trae Young. Like if I had been scouting then, I would have said he's on my do not draft board. I don't care if I'm picking at 37 and he's still sitting there. No, I don't think he's a winning player. I don't. I think he's a ball hog. He's a bad shot selection guy. Is he a stat patter? Certainly. But yeah, I'm with you. You and I think a lot alike. But that getting AJ DeBonsa is a massive ad for Washington.
Okay, then we go to Utah number 2. Now, if Utah didn't do what they did this year and get Jaren Jackson Jr. and already have Lauri Markkanen, I would say, okay, this is the spot where they have to go big. But because they have that, and look, they still have to make a decision on Kessler too, who's a restricted free agent. They have to weigh how far do we want to go in the apron. To me, they need scoring. They need a high ceiling guy. Ace Bailey showed some things last year, but to me, this is why Peterson, you can't pass up on the potential of that talent. There's a lot of things he did this year that I did not love. But the fact that he's 6'6" and has a 7-something wingspan or 6'11" wingspan, and I take it back to the senior year in high school. He went into DeBonsa's high school and kicked his ass, and he went into Boozer's high school, the Twins, that's when the Twins were playing together, and kicked their ass. He showed that year he was the number one guy. Did not love the stuff in Kansas. Now, he's saying he was on a heavy creatine diet that led to a lot of cramping and a lot of issues where load management as a college kid came into play. Don't love that, but there's at least an explanation that I can go to sleep at night and say, okay, considering the makeup of my team, if I'm the Utah Jazz, Peterson at number 2. You agree with that or no? You going somewhere else?
Yeah, I wouldn't take him. Again, I'm going to do my homework. I have a friendship I have for 25 years with Bill Self. I'm going to call him and ask him. Right. I do not love his talent, but I have serious concerns when you're playing in an elite program, Kansas, you're playing for a Hall of Fame coach in Bill Self. They're paying you whatever millions of dollars he got, and I can't rely on you all the time. And now, I better come up with an excuse. Creatine? I take creatine every single day. I have not had cramping problems. Now, if he's overloading the creatine, look, that Kansas training staff is, I'm sure, very, very good. They would be on top of all of that stuff. And I'm sure he has guidance in his team around him, agent, whoever. To me, it's another excuse. Wildly talented. I'd have to do a deep dive to know I could trust him.
Okay. So if you're Utah right now, without doing your homework, you're not taking Peterson. Which one are you taking? Are you taking Wilson or Boozer? Because
I'm probably
neither
taking Caleb Wilson.
Neither is just a great fit for what they look like. You're basically saying, because you already committed to Jackson, you committed to Lowry money wise, you're not going to be able to move those. So basically, you're saying we're drafting a role player that's coming off the bench if it's Boozer or Wilson.
No, I'm telling you, I'm taking the best player on the board. I got a bad team, and I simply need to get talent on my roster. If my homework tells me that Darren Peterson is legit and he's a good dude and I could trust him, okay, then he's in play. But I like Caleb Wilson at that spot because I think he's the best player on the board.
All right, well, here's where it's going to get interesting. Memphis at number 3. Mm-hmm. To me, let's just say DeBonsa and Peterson are off the board.
Okay.
Memphis lost Jaren Jackson Jr. Obviously, they need help in the front court.
Yep.
So, to me, this is where Boozer or Wilson are weighed. Considering Ja Morant and the antics with him, and look, he might be traded this summer, so maybe they've had enough with the antics. Considering the antics, and Caleb Wilson and Boozer have both been ideal citizens. To me, Boozer is more plug-and-play, professional. And here's the thing I love about Boozer. Before losing in the NCAA tournament, before Duke was eliminated, multiple places reported he had never lost a tournament before, going back to AAU when he was 15.
Mm-hmm.
He's 18 years old. He's 6'9", 6'10". His defensive numbers show that he's an elite defender. The numbers to me are a little skewed from the eye test. I don't think he's the elite defender that the numbers show. This is where analytics lie to you, but he's a pretty good damn defender. He's not elite like the numbers show. 3-layer score. He can shoot the three. He's got a mid-range. He can attack the rim, plays with physicality. He checks a lot of boxes. With that said, when I see Wilson, I see Sean Kemp in a modern day game, meaning eventually he'll be able to stretch out and shoot the three. It's not there right now. But as far as the explosiveness for that size and the ease in which he attacks the rim, he's got a Sean Kemp feel to it. Maybe he just does. So Memphis has to decide, do they go safe? Because to me, Boozer's the safer choice. Higher ceiling or lower ceiling, higher floor, or do they gamble on Wilson? Because to me, whichever decision they make, that puts the Bulls in play at number 4. But you're going to disagree with that because I know you're going to go with the A-Cuff argument, and we will debate that. But at number 3, Memphis, what you say on that? Say if Peterson and DeBonsa go, like a lot of people are projecting.
Okay, then if I'm the Grizzlies, I'm probably taking Cameron Boozer. I need stability in my organization, and that kid is the epitome of stability. I think Caleb Wilson's going to be a really good NBA player. I think Cameron Boozer's the more polished, comes from a professional dad, and has been in the spotlight. I really like that kid. Is he a superstar? I'm not sure he's a superstar, but he's a really, really accomplished player. I got to break down all the film and channel my old career. Right now, it'd be Cameron Boozer going to the Grizzlies.
We agree on that. I think Memphis has to really make sure that they don't get into bad habits and old Memphis Grizzlies. And to me, this guy is a different look to that organization.
He's a blue chipper.
There you go. All right. So with that said, we now have DeBonsa, Peterson, based on what homework you do, but Peterson for me at 2. Memphis going Boozer because I think they really have to make sure that this pick is safe. That comes to the Bulls at 4.
Okay.
I have them taking Caleb Wilson, who will become the number 1 Caleb in town.
Yeah. He will not be the number 1 Caleb in town, but good try.
Well, unless Ben Johnson comes and tries coaching him too and turning his life around. And you are going, I didn't even know you were, I ripped on people going A-Cuff today, not knowing you were in this cult, this building cult of A-Cuff guys. Okay, I will tell you I love A-Cuff at 5, possibly 6. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'll leave that to the Clippers and to Brooklyn to figure out. Mm-hmm. But here's why. I'm just going on what I see in the NBA the last 4 or 5 years. He is not going to change the geometry of the floor like Steph Curry does. No one ever probably will in a long time. Okay. What Steph Curry does cannot be duplicated. I haven't seen anyone duplicate.
Agreed.
He's a 6'2", no defensive playing guard. The last time a lead point guard took a team to the NBA Finals and won it all, and maybe Brunson does that this year, I doubt it. To me, if he is your number 1 option, you have to have such a perfect build around him. You have to have wings that are elite defenders and two-way players. You just have to do so much to get that right. To me, he's almost a finishing piece. He's almost the guy you say, you know what? We have a rim protecting center. We have 2 wings that are dogs. We just want a guy who just goes out and scores and is explosive. He is not Derrick Rose explosive. He is explosive, but he is not Derrick Rose explosive.
Not many are.
No. So let's get that out of our heads, Chicago. He is not the next Derrick Rose. That was a shooting star. As much as I rip on Derrick Rose, that was a comet that is, again, hard to duplicate. It is so hard when I look at OKC, Minnesota. I'm just naming teams in the playoffs right now. The way the Knicks are constructed, Philadelphia's inadequacies and problems. Maxi's your number 1 guy. He's just a smaller guard, not the greatest defender.
He's not your number 1 guy.
Who? You don't tell me that big 7-foot cripple that we see walking down the floor.
Again, I'm not an Embiid guy, but he is their number 1 guy.
He looks 89 years
He
old.
does. Agreed. We agree there.
Okay, potentially he should be their number one guy. He looks broken.
Yeah, and when he has his kid on his lap yesterday, like a meat shield, like Dusty Baker, that turned me off too.
So I say you go with Caleb Wilson, and you just say, we have our guy, we have this athlete, he's raw. There's a lot of things he has to work on, but we have that athleticism, that size, and that shot blocking. And potentially he moves Modest over to the 3, which all of a sudden now your front court looks like Caleb Wilson, Modest, and then a player to be named later, because I think they could try and get a big with 15, whether it's Mara. If it doesn't work out, you get your guard at 15, and then you go into restricted free agency and you make bids on Mark Williams or Walker Kessler. I just think you can't pass up that size. What say you?
Again, I have to do all my homework, and then I'll come back on your podcast. Right now, I have to be talked out of Darius Acuff because he is the best player on the board for me at 4. He's outstanding. I can't get AJ DeBonsa. I love AJ DeBonsa. The other ones all have questions for me, but I could teach him to play defense. If I hire the right coach, that kid's going to play defense. And that kid's also going to be an absolute beast. And I know what you're going to say to me. You're going to say to me, name me the last lead guard that won an NBA title. Joe, I'm tanking next year. My management has made that clear. I may get my superstar next year. I may make a deal down the road and trade for a superstar. He doesn't have to be my best player. He's going to be one of them. And I love that kid.
Look, I love him. There's a lot of things I like about him. I just can't. And it's fine if you're losing games. But remember, next year, the draft lottery, it's not about tanking. It's about just gaining assets because you don't know where you're going to end up.
Right.
And so it's no longer just you can play the tanking game. It does you no benefit. It is just about having as many first-round picks as you can gather and hope that you get lucky. And that 27 class and the 28 class are not very good. Tyron Stokes, I mean, yes, he's probably the lead dog of that 27 class, but there's a lot of people that aren't very excited about him. And then you're looking at some foreign guys, and it's just – I don't love it. I think this 26 class is where you have to build that foundation. And if you're picking 5, if you're the Bulls, or 6, I would take Acuff and just say, you know what? I'll live with a horrible defensive backcourt of Josh Giddey and Acuff, because you're not moving off the Giddey contract this year. You're just not. Whether you try to, whatever you're going to do, you're not moving $25 million in today's NBA. You're just not. So you have to have the mindset of, okay, my backcourt's going to be Darius Acuff and Josh Giddey. How does the ball usage work? Because Josh likes to have the ball in his hands. Can Acuff actually be that kind of 2 guard? I mean, you can intertwine them. I mean, Philadelphia kind of does it with VJ and Maxey to a certain extent. To me, it's just rough. It's just asking a lot of 2 young guys that you'd like to see develop together and might just be kind of knocking heads. They're not redundant players by any means, because one's a phenomenal athlete and one's a more horizontal player. So I don't know. I just think the raw potential of Wilson, that size, and just some of the stuff he's done. I'm going to let you do your homework. We'll revisit this.
Oh, we will. Absolutely.
We've got over a month. That's the nice thing about this. But as of right now, as of today, I love Acuff. I love what he does. I just can't, not with this Bulls lineup. I can't put him in there with Josh Giddey.
You have to, here, in my opinion, you, not meaning just you, everybody, you have to basically not be wedded to any single player that's on this roster long term. I get that you can't move Giddey's money right now, but there is nobody on that roster that I go, oh, God, I got to make sure that I got that guy for the long term.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think there's a scenario where if they do say that they do their homework on Wilson and things come up that they don't like. I'm not talking about personality stuff. I'm just talking about talent-wise. And say they go Acuff. I mean, in 2 years, you can move Giddey's contract easily.
Yes.
I mean, it'd be an expiring contract. Yeah, you can get off of it. But I'm just saying, for what I would like to see Modest turn into, what I think Josh Giddey's strengths are, he's never had a lob guy. I think Caleb Wilson would give him a lob guy, a rim runner. Modest would be a 3, and all of a sudden I'm daring teams in the East. I'm saying, look at our height. It's very Minnesota-like. It's very OKC-like with Hartenstein and Chet. We have built this thing into this front court where we make shot making for you very difficult. Very difficult. So if you want to blow by Josh Giddey and make him a turnstile for the next couple of years, you go ahead and do that. But guess what? There's going to be physicality and bodies meeting you at the rim and making your life tough. To me, that's the perfect build out of how the Bulls should approach us, considering what they have locked in with this current roster. So can you get off of all that pieces? Yes. But to me, I just want to be big in the East. Just say, look at our size. Rest of the Eastern Conference, let's go. Knicks, you got Robinson, you got Cat for right now. We're not worried about you. Cavs, you got Mobley, you got Jared Allen. We can match you. And our guys are a little more dogs than your guys. So that's just my mentality when I just look around the landscape.
Yeah, and I'm not comparing the two players, but the mentality that Arturas had when he picked Patrick Williams was, he told me this. He literally told me, yeah, we really liked Halliburton, and his testing was off the charts when we did all the emotional testing and the psycho this. But he said, we looked at Patrick Williams as a potential grand slam home run. And I'm like, wow. Okay, you better be right. And he said, yeah, we better be right. Well, they weren't. And they compounded their mistake by not just saying, get out. They gave him $90 million and the 5th year as a player option. That is malpractice. So if Caleb Wilson ends up at the end and I go, that's my guy, he will have checked every box. But if he's too raw for me and I got to do too much projecting, that Darius Acuff kid is a monster.
Real quick, I know you got to get out of here. Let me get you a couple of the other guards' name. What do you think about the other guards? We got Wagler. We got Mikal Brown Jr.
The kid at Houston.
Flemings, Berries from Arizona. What do you think about that group, and what would you like to see at 15?
At 15, I'd like to get size. Even if I take size at 4, I want more size at 15.
I agree with you.
The kid that you have listed, Ade Mara from Michigan, I went down and watched, and I sat 3 rows from the floor to watch Mara destroy Illinois down in Champaign. And I'm interviewing Brad Underwood about Keaton Wagler today. I think Keaton Wagler is going to be a bucket getter in the NBA. I really do. He's raw. He's young. He's a freshman. He's going to the big show. It's going to take time, but the Bulls have time to let guys develop. It's not like I'm dropping them on OKC going, all right, you're going to start for us and we got to win the title this year or it's a failure. But that Mara kid, he was unguardable because he has really good footwork. He's been really well coached. How that kid was sitting on the bench at UCLA, not getting enough minutes, and he rolls over to Michigan and looks like a stud tells me a lot about A, his work ethic, and B, Dusty May can flat out coach fundamentals inside.
No, May's legit. I mean, he turned all those front court guys into, I mean, they may have 3 front court guys go within the top 20. And that's, to me, is just coaching, just turning those guys into dogs. No, you know what's great? A week ago, I mean, obviously I had my goofy premonition and just kept thinking number 4. But a week ago, the thought was, okay, when we do this podcast next week, we're going to be talking about Mikal Brown Jr. and we're going to be talking about just missing out on a Wagler, who I think is going to be a poor man's Con Knipper.
Right, Lendeboard.
He's not. He's going to come in and do a lot of really good things and shoot the lights out. But he's not Con Knipple, but he's a poor man's Con Knipple. But he's going to be a nice impact. And Flemings and guys like that debating what would happen at number 9, where you're kind of a slave to that run of guards. And now we get to sit back and debate number 4. Tell me that this is not sunnier days for the Bulls.
Yeah, and again, this is not a shot at Arturas. It just feels like the black cloud of gloom and doom and all 30 months without trading a human being off the roster when your team stinks. All that is gone. And I really am excited to see where this guy, Bryson Graham, takes us. And
by the way, I'll leave you with this little fact. I talked to people that were in the draft room, the Halliburton, Patrick Williams, and our AK has flat out lied. He was telling people in the room that Halliburton, in his mind, doesn't even project to be a better than the starting five they currently had with the Bulls. That's a fact. People in that draft room have told me that. He later has tried to rewrite his history of Halliburton. He did not like Halliburton. There were people in that room that loved Halliburton, and AK silenced them. So shame on you, AK. I've been told by numerous people in that draft room, his little story about, hey, Halliburton was right there and we were thinking about him, that came after the fact, after he saw which way Williams was going and which way Halliburton was going. So. By the way, so I have a house in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and Halliburton's from Oshkosh. And I ran into one of his coaches up there. He said, do you know how devastated he was the night of the draft? He wanted to be a Bull so badly. So bad. Yep. Yeah. And Arturis said to me, all the psycho testing and everything we did, we were torn who we take. And I'm not shocked to hear what you're saying, that's bullshit. Bullshit. More AK bullshit. All right, Cap. Thanks, buddy. I love talking draft with you, and we'll have to revisit this again as it gets closer. Yep. I'm going to do all my homework, and you and I'll go over it. All right. Sounds good. Take that. Catman. Love the Catman. Love the Catman. Yeah, and you know what's great about this is not only do we get to sit there and wait for 4 and talk about 4, but then after 4, okay, now what do they do? Who falls to 15? Do you gamble at 15 and go with the Euro? There's not many Euros. There's a couple of them. Kareem Lopez comes to mind. Does he drop to 15? I mean, he's got some things that are interesting on film. And a lot of it is based on what you get at 4. And to me, just because you get size at 4, hell, look for more size at 5. So, we'll see. All right, let's go to Cowley Island. One of the things that kind of got downplayed a little bit, maybe not by everybody, but some places. Bryson Graham talking about the cap money they have and what he would want to do with it. The third thing he said is there is a scenario where you explore bad contracts and you become a dumping ground to attract draft assets with it. I love that from him. And here's why. They have the money to take on bad contracts, and the way the league is now setting up with this draft, it is not about your record. It is about how many chances you have at a first-round pick. And so teams might be willing to trade those a little bit more. If you could collect as many assets as you can collect and you could take multiple swipes at the draft, take it. I love the fact that he sounds like he's playing chess when AK was barely playing checkers. It was more like marbles, where he was just chucking a marble at a circle of marbles. This guy sees things three-dimensional. Based on the draft and how it comes out of it, do we go, let's bid on one of these restricted free agents based on what we got at 4 and 15? Or do we go, let's be a dumping ground? I'm fine with being a dumping ground for your bad contracts, but you better send us a first-round pick, something AK could not grab in his tenure there. He could not, well, at least until after he was gone, the Portland pick came to fruition. So love that. Artie tells me new days ahead, good feeling. I mean, Bryson Graham, impressive so far. Again, it's early. I may turn on him in 2 years, but we'll see. As of right now, love the way he's thinking. All right, let's go to the list. If the Bulls do want to play the restricted free agency game, these are the 5 restricted free agents I would like to see them take a bid at. And again, it's draft determined, but let's say I'll start 5 and go down to 1. Let's say they grab 2 bigs like I mocked out with them grabbing Caleb Wilson and Mara from Michigan. Number 5, Benedict Mathurin. I need a scorer. Clippers don't know if they can afford him. I need a scorer. I like his makeup. He's a little high usage at times. You can coach that out of him, but flat out scorer. And if you're not going to keep Anthony or you're not going to keep Colin Sexton, Anthony Simons, you still need scoring, whether it's coming off the bench or however you want to. Benedict Mathurin, throw money his way. There's not a lot of teams that are going to be in the restricted free agent market. There just aren't. There's not a lot of NBA teams with money. There's not. You set the price, Bulls. You set the market price. Benedict Mathurin, here's our offer. Clippers, you want to meet it? Pay up. Number 4, Mark Williams. Again, this is based on, okay, say they go Caleb and say the 15 pick is a guard. It doesn't work out. Mara's gone. They can't. Give me Mark Williams. I don't love that he load managed this year because of injury concerns, and then he got hurt after 50-some games. Don't love that, but shot blocker, front court, that's what I want for the Bulls. Number 3, Tari Eason. Houston, shame on you. You could have traded him multiple times and had a point guard, either Ayo or Kobe. You didn't want to do it, and you got knocked out of the first round of the playoffs, and you have to redo your entire roster. Tari Eason, bam. Number 2, Peyton Watson. You can never have enough three-point shooting. And this dude was knocking him down at a crazy rate. Number 2, Peyton Watson. And number 1, again, I'm basing this on the fact that Caleb Wilson is a Bull, and you get a guard. Walker Kessler. I now have my shot blocker in the middle. I have Caleb Wilson playing alongside him at the 4. I have Modest going to the 3. Have fun scoring on the Bulls front court. Have fun. So Walker Kessler, again, a lot of this is draft based, but that's where my mindset is. And again, there's just not a lot of teams with money. You're in a very good position. You are sitting in that seat, that admiral seat, and you're basically dictating the market because there are not a lot of teams with money this year. So great year for the Bulls to be cap friendly and be able to call their own shots. So that's it. We're calling this kind of an emergency podcast. It's not a full 911, but it definitely needed to be done today after the draft and the draft lottery on Sunday. So, hey, good feelings for the Bulls. And your kid called number 4. Till next week. I got next.